Hi there, welcome to Subpar Stitches. My name is Hillary and this is my Flosstube channel. We're relegated back to this chair because my couch is once again a mess. Like actually this whole room, you don't want to see it. It's terrifying. It's like a storm just came through here and I need to clean it, but I've been so busy. I was supposed to film last week, but my sister got married last weekend and I was like the matron, because I'm old now, the matron of honor. So I had to, mentally prepare for all that stuff. So I'm filming this week. So it's June 20th is the last time I filmed, and it is currently July 17th. So it's been a little long, which would explain why I've got a mad stack of stuff next to me. So buckle up because we're going to start with FFOs. And I got a weird one in here. I'm going to save it for the end of the FFOs. So if you don't want to see it, you can skip it because I always timestamp my videos. So I'll explain more when I get there. I also list all the patterns I talk about in chronological order in the description box, and I try to link to everything I can. So if there's something you're interested in, is something you want to stitch, you can just drop down to the description box, find it in the list, and there should be a link right out. So let's hop into the FFOs. And I have 3 this week because one of my WIPGO calls for the month of July was to FFO a minimum of 3 projects, and I did. And I just framed 3. Like, I know it's a very simple FFO style, but they were frames that I had sitting in my closet. I felt like they fit everything. Well, one of them I bought special for the stitch. That's the one we're saving for last. But the first one that I framed was actually 3 separate stitches, and this is the Sweet Mixed Pickles by Pickle Barrel Designs. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. I had bought these, like this triple frame for something else. I'm one of those people who likes to leave the glass in. I know a lot of like stitchers don't, but I just feel like too much the risk for dust. So I bought this for these Una Buena Pizza stitches that I got, and then this was just a little bit too small for the biggest one, so I ended up going with something else. But you guys saw these were one of my weekly starts. So we've got kind of a big dill, and you can see my ring light. We've got Pickle Queen, and pickles are delicious, and it bends so you can kind of like curve it. I thought it looked pretty good. I think I did a decent job framing them. Nothing too special to mention about these, I guess, other than they are FFO'd. The only thing I don't like is that, like, I can't, like, fold it all the way, so it's just, like, you kind of, if I want to, like, store it away, it's gonna look like that. The next FFO I have is Beach Rat. This is by The Artsy Housewife. Again, I have the glass in there, but this frame I got from Michael's before I went to StitchCon. There's, like, just no good way to do this. This is what happens when you, oh, there we go. Look at that. When you like the glass. But I thought that the bottom of this was shaped really well to the bottom of the seaweed leaves here. And I was worried that there was going to be like, this is too much open space, but I think it looks pretty cool. I really like the unusual shape of this frame, and I think it just kind of gives it like an elevated look. And this is my first 1/1 project, so I was like, I have to frame this because it was a lot. But yeah, I don't know. It's a really nice kind of muted wood tone. And I picked this frame up like 3 times, set it back down, walked away, and then I just like speed walked back and I was like, I gotta have that frame. So, and then my last FFO has like real human teeth on it. So if you don't want to see my teeth that are like not in my head, skip to the FO timestamp in the description box now. This is your last warning because I'm going to show you a bunch of human teeth, okay? Okay, here come the human teeth. So this is Tooth Fairy by Mama Witch Cross Stitch, and this one I finished a while ago. I'd had my wisdom teeth removed. I actually only had 3 wisdom teeth. So these 3 are mine. And then my husband got his wisdom teeth removed, and I was begging him. I was like, please, will you ask your dentist if you can keep your wisdom teeth? He's like, you're not going to do something weird with them, are you? And I'm like, I absolutely am. So I got this pattern, and it originally, the tooth, I think it was like positioned lower, and then it had these back stitch wings, but I just shifted it up so that it was even. I didn't backstitch the wings because I didn't like them. And then on all 4 corners, I put our teeth. So this broken one up here is Robert's, my husband's. His teeth were growing in like sideways, so they had to break them to get them out. But I think it adds a little bit of charm to it. I had to glue it back together. And I was like in the living room. I had this like little lap table and I was gluing it together, and Rob didn't know what I was doing. And he's like, "Are you having fun with your little crafts?" And I was like, "Yep, sure am." So, and then the thread that I used is actually this, it's like a mess right now, but it's like Zelkova Japan. It's real, as far as I know, it's like real gold flake is used to make the thread, and my friend Tara suggested I use that to tie the teeth on, which I did. And let me tell you, tying teeth to fabric, not easy. Not an easy thing to do. But I think that this turned out great. The frame, I went through and like looked at a bunch of frames online, and I sent them to like my friend's group chat, and a bunch of them, and said this one probably looked the best because it had like the nubs on it and it kind of matched. So I thought, I just think this is really cool. I think it's awesome. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. I almost said cup of teeth. But it's going in my living room. So, and my husband hates it, and I'm glad. I think it's romantic. It's our teeth together. I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't see the vision. So that leads us into FOs, and I have a few here as well. One of them was my recent weekly start, and this is called the Matryoshka Needlework Set by Gera, which is Kyoko Moroka. I don't know if she like designs under someone else's brand. I'm not really sure if Gera is just her or what. I don't know. I have her book, but I bought this pattern when I saw it, and it's 3 little Matryoshka. So this one is stitched on 25 count even weave that I got from, I think it's probably like Zweigart. And then in the exact same pattern, just different colorway, you stitch it again on 32. Look how cute. And then in the exact same pattern, but different colorway, you stitch it again on 36. So then you have 3 different sizes, but all the patterns are the same number of stitches. And when I explained that to my husband, he was like, "How is that possible?" And I was like trying to explain, like, you know, the holes are different sizes. I was like, it's almost like pixels. He goes, "Oh, so it's like resolution on a computer screen." And I was like, sure, why not? But the way that you FFO these, I will pop up a picture here so you can see. You create like a little needlework set. So one of them is a pin cushion, one of them holds your scissors, and one of them holds a measuring tape. And when I was a kid, I was like obsessed with Matryoshka. So I had an aunt who had some in her cabinet, and she would let me like take them out and play with them. I did play it a little fast and loose with like the margins in between these two. So I'm sure it'll be fine. But after that, I was like, okay, we need to give them a little bit of extra space. And most of the time when I finish a pattern, I either like give it away or, you know, something like that, you know, give it to a friend. But this one I don't want to give away because I feel like I could make a few more sets of these in different colorways, and I think it would be really cute. So I just used the called fors to do the colorways on this one, but I feel like I could do some really funky colors. I think I like the red one the best, just because it really, really pops. But they're all 3 very cute. I did feel like the skin color when I first started putting it in. When I pulled the thread, I was like, this is orange. But then once it's all stitched up, you know, you just have to trust the process. And once it's all stitched up, it does look like an actual skin tone. And then I'm sure you guys saw in my thumbnail, but I think I was watching the Runner Stitcher, and he had mentioned like a Christmas in July thing. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. So I immediately grabbed, I think these are like the only 2 Christmas projects I even had. Oh, well, I have one more, but I did work on that. But aside from that, these are the only 2 Christmas projects that I really had rolling around in my whip basket. So the first one was Oh Christmas Tree. Yeah, by All Through the Night. And here is where it was before. And this is stitched on 36 count stone linen. I just had an extra offcut from a project I had done, and I thought this looked really good with the Bestitch Me silk, which is called Evergreen. Works, that makes sense. And I showed my husband, and he was just like, oh, I love the variegation. And then he was like, that's the only word I know related to cross stitch. He's like, I'm just going to run it into the ground. And I was like, well, you used it right. So here is the finished piece. It is not like massive as far as like stitch amount goes, but definitely because there's all these itty bitty pieces, I did find myself kind of having to be cautious of traveling because this is a lighter colored fabric. So I was like having to break the thread fairly often and kind of move around. But I think it's really cute. I don't know what I'll do with it yet. I do need to cut this like excess off here. But this will be a nice piece to put out for Christmas. I love a gray. I don't know. So I'm glad this one's done though. I should probably find some more like Christmas projects that I like because I don't have very many Christmas stitches, which is weird because Christmas, I feel like, heavily rampant when it comes to cross stitching. I do have the Advent animals, so I might stitch those. I downloaded them before the website got shut down, but I have so many new starts planned for this year. Maybe I'll have to start them next year. And then my third finished object, which shouldn't take that long to FFO, but I just haven't yet. This was a Janlynn kit, and this is called like Will Work for Cookies. Here's where it was the last time you saw it. I was like, there's barely anything left. I just need to get it done. And I was right. There was like 500 stitches left, plus the back stitching. Tara found this last year on the freebie table at StitchCon, and she gave it to me because she was like, I think you'll like this. And I was like, yeah, he's like a kind of a slutty little Santa. And so it's on like a plastic, like a perforated plastic, but even though it looks like the Mill Hill paper, it's not. And there were supposed to be like French knots on the letters, but I just feel like it doesn't need them. And also I did not want to do them. And it's not even that I'm not a French knot hater. I didn't feel like it. I was already over the back stitch at that point. And then, don't his feet, his little shoes, don't they look like little baked potatoes? I don't know, but this will turn into an ornament. It came with like a piece of wire to create like a hanger out of, and I'll just probably back it with some sticky felt, and I'll have another ornament for my cross stitch ornament collection. So that leads me into new starts. And like I said, I'm doing one new start a week for the entire year. Everything's kitted up, so it's good to go. But is it a dumb idea? Maybe. Is it fun? I've been loving it. I've been really enjoying it. And then next year I'll have a bunch of like just a domino of finishes, I think. But I've had 4 new starts since the last time you saw me. And they're all really, I feel like I made really good progress on all of them, surprisingly. Because my new starts, the way my weekly schedule works is Monday, Tuesday, I work on my Pokemon. And Wednesday, Thursday, I'll use for WhipGo calls. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I use to get the best start I can on my new start. And while I'm at work, I do whatever I want with stitching, but like those are like my plans when I get home, because I can put in like more stitches into bigger projects at home. I'm not bringing like my Pokemon cross stitch to work because that would be insane. So each of these got at least 3 days. So the first one is Tea Time by Ink Circles, and here is what it looks like. I dyed my own fabric for this. If you remember, I started Coffee Time earlier in the year, and I'm going to start Cocoa Time later in the year, and I dyed the fabrics for all 3 pieces. I'm using all the called for threads, which they're, I believe, Classic Colorworks. And I put about 2,500 stitches on this in 3 days. And I have gotten, pulling this out, I didn't realize I got this far. So here is where it's at. And I dyed this like a kind of purple lavender, because I associate the color lavender with tea for some reason. And we got like a spoonful of honey. We have like a little honey well. I really like this teapot here, there's like a Chinese type of tea where it's like this almost like floral piece, like this big dried flower that you put in the bottom of your glass teapot, and it kind of sprouts up, and through the glass teapot you can really see, and it's very beautiful. There's like a few like tea steepers over here, just a couple of different teapots, a tea bag, just lots of cute details. I didn't realize until I was done stitching these, I was like, oh, they're lemons, because I don't put lemon in tea. I'm just not a big lemon person. But just everything about this is precious. So looking at the pattern, I just have the bottom. So if you don't know, Ink Circles has like an arrangement series, and everything in the arrangement series it's like themed around something. I've done a couple of them, but they're all this size, pretty small, pretty manageable. But this one in particular, the tea, cocoa, and coffee one, they have like an extra band at the bottom that is optional. So this will say like tea in like really fancy lettering, and it's got like some flowers. So that's all I have left to do. So this probably won't take me that much longer to finish. And my idea is, because we have like a coffee tea, almost like a drink bar in our apartment that we've put together. And I want to finish all three and then frame them in like 3 square frames and just put them above the coffee tea area. I just think that would be so cute. I didn't even realize I got this far on this. That's awesome. Oh, and I name all the fabrics that I dye just so that I have a way to track them in my Notion. So I named that one Gentle Lavender. So I don't know. I don't actually write any of the recipes down though, so I will never get the same thing twice. I don't know. I don't care that much. Next up, I started an Owl Forest embroidery pattern, and this is Forest House's Raccoons. So here's what it looks like. Amity gave me this pattern because she ended up buying the digital pattern. So I have the paper pattern, and the thing is, the size of the paper is just a little weird. So it's hard to make copies of. So I had to like copy it really weirdly, cut pieces out, and then tape it together. But despite it being a paper pattern, I feel like I really blasted through this. So I'm stitching this on a 32 count antique white by Zweigart. And this is 3 days of progress. I started this like 4th of July weekend, and I'm heavily impressed with how far I got. I think it's so cute. I love the little raccoon. I love the birds. I don't know if they're helping hang up the socks or if they're stealing the socks. The one thing I will say though is there's like a thread here. This is 3710. So you can see it's like black to kind of brownish to red. And it's used in the sock and these overalls. And even though it's like these raccoons just did laundry, I think it's like making it look like their laundry is filthy. Oh, also obsessed with this little duck butt right here. Very cute. So then there's going to be like a couple raccoons like doing some laundry in there, and there's like a mouse in here somewhere, I think. And then I also have the Forest House beavers that I also got from Amity, and I believe that will be a new start this year as well. But I don't know. I feel like I got so far. I'm very impressed with myself on this one. I think it looks really, really cool. I love the colors. I did buy the Owl Forest thread pack. I buy the Owl Forest thread packs for most of the projects that I do through Owl Forest, unless it's something small, just because I feel like fun threads are great for like bigger projects, but when it's so small, it's like not worth it to me. Then I realized my friend Tara from Wild Woman Crafts, she had mentioned to me like, oh, she has a friend who has the full set of Owl Forest embroidery threads. And then I was like, wait a minute, like fully 2 weeks later, it didn't click to me until 2 weeks later that I was like, wait, did she mean you can buy them individually? Because I thought you could only, I have one here because I just bought more of these packs. I thought you could only buy them in like the pre-packaged things. I didn't realize you can just buy individual skeins of Owl Forest embroidery threads. So I'm gonna probably stop just buying these until I figure out like what I have, because I have so many kitted up owl forest projects, and I'm like, I probably have most of the threads at this point, so I need to track those in my Notion and get my life together, because why did I not realize that? I only ever go on owl forest, look at the patterns, and if I like a pattern, I'm like, okay, buy the thread bag. Whoops. Then last weekend, I started this project called I Am Doing My Mediumist by Plastic Little Covers. I found them on Etsy, and I have another pattern that I'm going to be stitching from them as well. And I just thought this was like a funny, like, this is the vibe I bring to the workplace kind of a pattern. So here is where I got to. I finished this whole like side of the floral band, and it's just completely mirrored over here. And then there's like a similar floral band piece that's supposed to come down together at the bottom. I put in around 1,700 stitches on this. This is 18 count, just regular white Aida. I felt like it didn't need anything fancy. I felt like it would really pop. The colors speak for themselves. And I just think it's funny. And I showed it to my husband, and he was like, first of all, he couldn't read this word. And I was like, bro, I can't read cursive, but I could read that. Yeah, I am 32 and I can't read cursive. Sorry. It's like dumb. I hate cursive. There's no point. Why are we doing this? Just writing block letters. But yeah, he did. And then when I was like, it says I'm doing my mediumist, he was like, I don't get it. And I'm like, okay, I'm not explaining it. And then my last new start was actually not like one of my weekly starts. This was a fully just on a whim kind of a thing where, so Tara from Wilda Woman Crafts and Amity from Hathaway Stitchers, they both got, I think it's called Purple Transport, and they had kitted it up together. They kitted up the floss together at Stitch North last year when we went in October. And then I think while we were at StitchCon, they finally found the perfect fabric for it, and they were going to start that together. And I was like, I have a horse-themed pattern. And so on July 15th, for National I Love Horses Day, we all started our horse patterns, and I had picked from the primitive needle 2 horses, which, if you don't know, is this gem right here. When I first heard people talking, I think it was like Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe was like, oh my gosh, you guys, Primitive Needle is back. Her daughter's recharting everything and selling stuff. And I was just like, not to sound rude, I know some people are going to take it the wrong way, but I was like, I truly don't care, because with a name like Primitive Needle, there's nothing there for me. I'm just not a huge primitive stitcher. It's not my style. I appreciate the work that goes into it and like what people do with it, but it's just not something I've ever had interest in. But then I was just like, let me go check it out anyways, because people were, getting excited. So I was like, let me at least take a look so I know what I'm looking at. And when I saw these damn horses, I was like, I'm sorry, wait, this is primitive? Because this I can get behind. So I bought that, and then I bought this one with 2 stupid, evil-looking angels on it, and I could not be happier. But I did start the horses, and I had to immediately drop down to that first horse. I accidentally put 1 extra stitch in his butt, so his legs are only supposed to be 2 stitches apart, but they're actually 3 stitches apart. I don't know how I did that, but I was not going to rip his butt out and do it again. So I'm just going to deal with it. It's fine. He's thick. He's thick. And then I'm like coming over with the tree, and then there'll be a second horse, a la 2 horses. It has been stitching up pretty quick. I dyed this fabric myself. I call it Cool Gingerbread, and it's just an 18 count white DMC that I had, and I was dyeing this for something else last year, or like maybe even a year and a half ago, and then this was not what I had envisioned color tone wise. Like, this was too cool and I needed something warmer, and so I just threw it in my closet. I was like, eventually I'll find a use for it, and I feel like it looks fine with my little horse guy. I feel like this will be a very fall finish for sure. So those were all of my new starts since the last time you guys saw me, which leads us into, I've written it all on a notebook. I don't know why. I could have just pulled it up on my computer, but something about writing things by hand, it makes me happy, so I did it. Now we're going into whips, and the first whip I have to show you, last month was called for Whip Go, and I believe I needed, I think I told you guys, 8,000 stitches in this. This is the Nostalgic Tarot. I don't know if I have a good picture from last time, and I'm gonna like stand up to show this to you guys this time because it's big. But I did manage to finish the full outer outline of the frame. I did do the first card 0, because I just needed a break from what I was doing. And then now I'm locked in to finishing the borders of every card so that I don't have to think about that again, because doing the actual cards is fun. The borders is not fun. It looks great, not fun to do. So let me see if I can stand up and show you guys. So here is what I have so far. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of, I think, 22 or something like that. Outlines done. And I found a really good method, so I've been just chugging along. Next time this gets called on Whip Go, I'm going to focus on those borders and just get them done. I believe this only has one more call on my Whip Go board for this year, and the call is enough, or it's close enough to be the amount of stitches I need to finish the border itself. And then next year, I think, and anytime I feel like it this year, of course, but next year I'll put a heavy focus on filling in these cards, because I think we've almost got all of them. They release like every other month, and I would really love to see this as a finish. I will probably outsource it, but I want to have it made into like a hanging wall tapestry rather than like have it framed. I think it would just look really cool as a tapestry. So once I get to that point, I'll probably find someone who does finishing for, you know, like charges for finishing, and just have them do it, because I don't trust myself to finish something like this with my sewing machine. I'm not, like, I can do really basic stuff, but sewing a straight line that long, I don't know. I don't know if I'm confident in that. So I might have somebody else just do it for me. Next, we have the Epic Pokemon, and you know what, you guys? I took it out of the frame just for you, because I did officially hit and surpass the 50% mark. Oh my god, we did it! Here's where it was last time. Like, if I don't take it out of the frame, it's not, like, very interesting to look at, because you can't really always see. But I have been working on this really consistently this year, and you can see maybe you can't see. This is not so easy to do. There we go. So you can see I finished all that stuff right there. Yeah, I did just put my mouth on this filthy fabric. And then I moved the frame over to here, and I've been working over here now. This fabric is so dirty. I don't know how. It came dirty, and then it got dirtier. But this is 18 count white Aida by Kato. Yes, I did draw on it with pencil. Yes, I know pencil does not come out of Aida, and I knew that at the time. I don't care, because this is full coverage, and that's going to be outside of what's visible in the frame. So, but yeah, it's crazy to think that I've been working on this for, 10,000 years now. And this is slated to be finished, at the rate I'm going, it's slated to be finished July of next year. But the more I put into it, obviously the sooner it'll get finished. So I am trying to, every Monday, Tuesday, put in like 430 stitches, because if I do 860 a week for this year, and then I bump it up a little bit next year, I'll be able to finish by July. But most of the time, I get more than 860. And then if I do more than I need to. There have been weeks where I wasn't able to do any because, we're going out of town, or we've just got a lot going on, or, I only was able to put 200 in this day because the day just sucked and I'm tired, that kind of stuff. Those days where I put in the extra, it kind of helps keep a buffer going. So I don't want to slack when I don't have to, But this feels like a baseball bat. Like, look at it. There is a lot of excess fabric at the bottom. I just haven't cut it off yet because I love not cutting my fabric. Okay, next, I pulled this out because I forced myself to, because I have had a lot of anxiety surrounding this specific project, and here's why. This is the third time I've started it. And the first time I realized, this is Lois's stocking by Shepherd's Bush, by the way, and here's what it'll look like, and then eventually I'll show you where I was at. But the first time I started this, I had bought what I thought was the correct size of fabric. Started it, was like, oh, you know what, I'm realizing as I'm getting through this that it is too far over on the fabric and I won't have enough room for the toe of the stocking. So I just flipped the fabric around, restarted it just further over to the right so that the toe would fit. Get to about the same place, and then I realize, oh, this fabric actually just isn't big enough at all. And I don't know, I've almost never done, I think that's like the only time I can think of where I've screwed up with fabric like that. And I don't know why this one is causing me such distress. I don't know if it's just because, like, I've never worked with, like, so this is 18 count fabric, but you're stitching over 2 because you're using pearl cotton. And I don't know if my brain just cannot function or what, but I bought a stocking for every single person in my family. And I want to someday, when I maybe own a house or have a bigger place, like when I have them over for holidays, I can put them all out, and they cannot keep them because they're mine. But I picked ones that all go together. So for myself and my husband, like, mine has a little snowman on it. His has a little snowman on it. I did buy a third one in case we have a child that also has a snowman on it. If we don't have a child, I'll make a stocking for a dog. I don't care. But, for my brother and his fiance, I think theirs both had like trees on them because they both like camping and like being outdoorsy and stuff like that. For my parents, I picked kind of more classic looking ones because my dad really likes the old world Santas. So I tried to pick something that kind of fit them. And then I fully forgot what I picked for my sister and her husband. But you just heard me. I've got 8 stockings I got to get through, minimum 8 stockings. And then if any of them have kids, then I got to figure that out. And so I was like, I need to get to work on this. So I was paranoid that I had once again made the mistake of margins. So I put this away and I was like, if I don't look at it, it'll be fine. But I forced myself to pull it out, double check, count everything, and it is within the correct margins. But there's a new problem, okay? And it's a problem that is much more easily resolved. So first I will show you where I got to. So this is on Rustico, I think. Where did I write this down? I can't even remember. Yeah, 18 count Rustico by Witcholt. And this is how far I've gotten so far. And another thing, I asked my husband, I was like, well, what name do you want me to put on your stocking, right? Because he's Korean, he's born in Korea, so he has a Korean name and he has a Western name. I call him Robert or Rob because he prefers that I call him by his Western name. And then I was like, well, what do you want me to use, your Korean name or your Western name? He's like, use my Western name. And I was like, okay, well, what version? Because we've got Rob, we've got Robert, we've got Bob, we've got Bobby. Sometimes I call you Bobbert because I think it's funny and it sounds nice. And he's like, just do whatever you want. And I was like, I hate you so much. Just pick a name. But yeah, so we'll deal with that when we get to, I'll stitch his next. But yeah, I've got a good chunk of the body done. I feel like it's really fun to stitch with pearl cotton because the stitches are so chunky. And so it makes you feel like you're doing a lot. So then I was like, you can buy bead packs that go with these. And there's like a bead and charm pack for all of these. And so the pattern, $10. Good price for a pattern, right? Especially one this size, $10 pattern. And it's like a nice cardboard, and it like opens up, and it's got a full alphabet so you can customize the name at the top. Pattern pricing, great. The charm packs are $20, and they're not as, like, I'm just like $20 for some beads and charms, which, you know, they source it all for you. It looks like there's some like handmade buttons and stuff, so I should not complain. So, but I pulled this out because I was like, oh, you know what? There's some beads that go like in the center of like the white snowflake here, and I think over in here. I was like, I might as well slap a couple of the beads in there. Guess freaking what? Open my stupid $20 charm pack, and it's missing all of the white beads that it was supposed to come with. And I bought this over a year ago at 123 Stitch, so I'm just like, well, F me then, I guess, because it's not like I can be like, hey guys, guess what? A year ago you didn't send me the white bead. Like, what am I supposed to do? So now I've got to source white beads, and I don't know enough about beads at this point in my life. I'm not there yet, to know what beads to get that are the right size. They're supposed to be cream beads. The problem that I have with the pattern, right, is it tells you all the materials you need. Let me see if I gotta cover up the alphabet because I don't want to get in trouble. But it gives you like all the materials. It originally calls for weeks, but then it tells you like the DMC, which is what I'm using to substitute. And there's like other instructions. It just says beads, and it's got an asterisk, and it just says red beads, gold beads, cream beads. Usually it'll tell you like the size of the bead when a bead is involved in a pattern. And I just feel like it doesn't, where does the asterisk go? Usually when you put an asterisk, it means there's like a footnote, but there's no footnote. So now I just don't know. Oh, the footnote's inside the pattern. And you know what it says? All beads come in the charm pack, available through Shepherd's Bush. Sew all beads on at the end of the project. So I still don't know what kind of beads they are. So this project is cursed, and I'm mad all over again. But I think on 123 Stitch, it did say the size of the beads. So I can just find a white cream equivalent. I'm just mad that I paid $20 and then I didn't check the frickin' pack because I didn't think, and I didn't even put them back in the bag. I didn't think to look in here because I was too dumb. Okay, and then the last whip is actually one that was my second WIPCO call for this month. And it is Squirrels of Sumatra by, okay, I will pop it on the screen if it's not, but I'm pretty sure it's Ink Circles. Watch me be so wrong. I think it's 4,000 stitches is how many stitches I need to put in this month. I have gotten 2,200 so far, and I have this scheduled for this. I worked on it yesterday. I'll work on it today, and then I'll work on it, you know, next Wednesday and Thursday as well, and that should be more than enough time. I'm stitching this on 32 count golden hour with black rose hand-dyed threads. Both the fabric and the floss are from Hand-Dyed by Rolanda. I bought these when I was in Canada, and I just really liked the color combo. So here is where I got to. I have just been taking the border out as I stitch the motifs because I feel like that's the safest way, rather than stitch the whole border at the beginning and then it doesn't match or something like that. I would rather not risk it. So I'm just kind of taking it out as I go. And you can see that it goes from like a deep burgundy to like maybe like a wine red kind of color. I really like these threads. I really like it on this fabric. And I just have been liking putting like big goals for my big projects on the WIPCO. This is my first year doing WIPCO. So far I've been able to keep up, and I feel like, you know, my goals are a little challenging, but they're not unreasonable, and I've been able to get them all within the month. Even if it's on the last day of the month, I still get it. So I will be pulling this back out tonight. And my plan is, last night I had kind of come down through here and I did all of this. And so tonight I'm going to keep going over this way. Down here's where the squirrels are. I think I'm going to save the squirrel for like the very last thing. So far my favorite motif on here is I got my hair just everywhere. I really like this bird and then like the motif piece behind it, which kind of makes it look like a really intense like peacock. I'm sure that was intentional, but I just really like the way that looks. So I'm excited to get some more stitches on this. So that is everything that I worked on. And now I just have some plans. So originally this weekend I was going to start something else. I've forgotten the name. But it's that one with like that rabbit that's like on fire. But I swapped it with this one called Bathroom by Stitchy Princess because we're going to the Chicago area on Friday and Saturday and Sunday because I have to go to Polish and Beauty Expo, which is like a nail polish convention. And I get to go as press. So like I get to go in a little bit early and like film and everything like that. And so I'm excited about that. Then I get to buy a bunch of nail polish that I probably don't need, but will be buying anyways. So I needed something easy to stitch in the car. And the one that I was going to stitch was like on linen. And I just feel like it'd be easier to stitch on Aida. But then when I swapped it, I realized that the project I stitched it for, I don't even think that it's Aida in the bag. I think it's even weave. But I was like, whatever, it's fine. This one's a smaller piece, so it's okay. And I'm pretty sure I've shown you what it looks like by now. Why do I want to stitch a bathroom? I don't know. I just thought it was cute. So I will start that on Friday on our ride over to Chicago. And then Saturday, we don't have much going on until like the evening, so I'll have some time to stitch. And then Sunday, we'll be driving back and I'll have the whole time in the car. We live like 4 hours from the Chicago area, and Rob will insist on driving the whole way because I feel like it's like a weird masculine thing with him where he's like, are you saying I can't drive 4 hours at once? And I'm like, no, I just thought you'd want to switch off, but if you want to drive the whole way, that's fine. I will stitch the whole time. And then the weekend after that, I will be starting Harvest Season Cucumbers by Owl Forest. Once again, I have the thread pack. Whoops. But I just thought it was I just love Owl Forest. I have so many I have 5 Owl Forest kits sitting in front of me right now. What is my problem? I don't know. I just love Owl Forest so much. You know what? In the plans section, I will just show you. So this one is Chicken Yard, and I think I'm gonna stitch it on April Showers by Bestitch Me. So here's the fabric I chose. And then I have Tangerine Cats, and I thought I would stitch it on, this is We Can't Elope. I actually did not like this fabric when I got it in the club because I just don't like a pale orange. I like a more saturated orange, but I think that this saturated orange will pop on this pale orange, and I think it'll be a cool kind of tone-on-tone thing. And then I shredded this bag. What is this? This is Kiwi Birds. And I don't know if I'm going to go with this one or not, but this is 32 count blush even weave from Bestitch Me. And I just thought the greens might look good against it if I can get them all. So here's the colors. I feel like that will look good, but if you think that it's going to look terrible, tell me. Be honest. And then I got Nimble Birds, which I don't remember even what it looks like at this point. Oh yeah, now I remember. So I don't know why I thought this would be a good color, but I'm just like 32 count Nightshade by Bestitch Me. Will that go well together? I don't know, but I just really like this fabric and I wanted to use it, so whatever. And then the one I'm most excited for, I bought the Owl Quaker Ball, which is like a bunch of little owls and then you sew them together like a big ball. Very self-explanatory. So here's the color pack, and I think I'm gonna use this 40 count Grandpa's sleeve. I think this will look really, really cool together. These are not slated starts for this year. Probably sometime next year, because I already have like a bajillion new starts to start this year. But yeah, so those are my plans, and then those were the 5 random kits that I had. And after I go to Polish and Beauty Expo, I feel like my schedule will calm down a little bit. I've just been so busy this summer. But I don't think I have anything big planned after that for quite a while. So hopefully I can get back onto a regimented schedule and I can clean this room because it's a mess right now. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my video, and I'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye.